Best of Redditor update story here. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Bailing on Anniversary Plans with My Boyfriend Last Minute for a Friend's Emergency? My boyfriend, 21 male and I, 20 female, had fancy dinner plans and tickets to the movies to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. We were both super excited about it and had planned it a while ago. However, an hour before our reservation, I got a message from my close friend. He texted me saying he was having a family emergency and he needed some support or someone to talk to right now and asked me to come over. I've been friends with this person for years and I've always been there to support him and cheer him up as he has some family and home issues. So I called my boyfriend who was driving back from work to tell him we'd have to cancel because I have to go be there for a friend, and he got mad even though I told him it was out of my hands. I then hung up because I didn't want him to carry on driving and being on a call, especially if he's angry, and said I'll speak to him later. Cut to me coming home a few hours later and he was pissed. We then got into an argument and he said that I prioritized another guy over him and that my friend is a grown man who could have waited until the next morning to have me come over. He also got more mad when I couldn't tell him what the emergency was that ruined what was meant to be a special day, even though that's my friend's personal information and it's not my business to share. I felt that it was very insensitive of him to not understand why I had to go and be there for a friend of mine. And yeah, we lost a bit of money for tickets, but we can just reschedule. But I can see why he's frustrated, as it's our first anniversary and he had planned it a while ago. Plus, I got angry at him for being insensitive, which only heated the argument and made it worse. It's been a few days since the fight and he's still being frosty to me, waiting for me to apologize, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure if I handled it right. Am I the astronaut? We've got some relevant comments here and how many updates? 2 or 3 updates. Okay. Yeah, we've got some stuff to go through here. We've got some stuff to go. I have questions. And at the beginning of the story, I'll tell you right now, at the beginning of this story, I kind of felt like the boyfriend was the asshole. Finding out that the friend was a dude does change things. It shouldn't, but it does. I think there's people who have friends of the opposite sex have to have understanding partners. And if they're partners, if that makes them uncomfortable, they have to do even more work to overcome that, right? So I feel like she has more of a burden to be explaining things, especially because it ruined this date, but then it's a private issue there. And I understand that too. So it's a complicated situation. There's nothing easy about this. Nothing easy. Here's some relevant comments. Info, was this something that could have waited another day? Original OP, no. My friend had a big argument with his dad, and without going into lots of details, my friend struggles with alcohol problems, so I went over to help smooth things over and gave him someone to talk to and distract him as he was very upset. When my friend asks for emergency support, I don't ask questions, I go. How could I have enjoyed my night knowing he was struggling anyway? That's a good point. That's a really good point. Comment, girl, let me tell you this right now. That boy is using you. If he has an actual emergency, like needs a ride to the hospital, or his parents both just died, or he's depressed, or he's so depressed he's standing on a ledge and needs a friend to talk him down, that's one thing. But if he has a fight and it might cause him to drink, F that. That's not an emergency. I was married to an alcoholic. One of the many things you have to learn in any relationship with someone who struggles with alcohol problems is that it is their struggle. If you keep letting them use you as a crutch so they won't drink, they will keep abusing that power over you, and then they will blame you the minute you turn your back and they take a drink. His fight with his dad, that's his problem. Him wanting to drink, also his problem. You cannot and should not always be at his beck and call to keep him from going on a bender. It's not healthy and you're not helping. You're actually enabling by letting him think that you are always available to be a barrier to drinking. He needs to be able to not drink on his own. So apologize to your boyfriend sincerely. Explain the situation to him the same way you did to Reddit. Then get yourself to an AA meeting and learn how to be a true friend to an alcoholic while not being addicted to caring for the alcoholic. Another good point. Comment, can you see how this must look to your boyfriend? You ditched him on your first anniversary to go to the emotional rescue of another man. That doesn't look good. I'm sure it felt awful. Then you accuse him of not being sensitive and understanding when you are doing the same thing to him. You're the asshole. Reddit voted, you're the asshole. Before we get into an update here, there's a lot of really good points being made here. And yeah, you have to be understanding to the boyfriend here. Also, there's this little seed in my mind that is like, look, if this friend knows about this anniversary date and has some kind of hidden feelings for OP, would it not be unreasonable for him to fabricate this thing to prevent that 1-year anniversary from happening, and also to test the waters to see if it would be possible, if OP would choose him over her boyfriend. It's possible. But it's complicated, right? This is not an easy situation here. Let's get into the update, because holy cow. Update 6 days later. After reading everyone's comments, I realized I was in the wrong and I didn't prioritize correctly. I came off pretty defensive at first, but after thinking about what people said, I shouldn't have been. I apologized to my boyfriend and told him nothing like this would ever happen again. He's still pretty mad, but after a serious conversation about setting boundaries between me and this friend, he's willing to move past it. He did say if this happens again or if I cross any boundaries with this friend, then he's gone. So it obviously did affect him more than I thought. I'm willing to respect this and try to consider my boyfriend's feelings more while still being there for my friend. We have rebooked our tickets and dinner for next weekend, and hopefully it can still be special. What I will say is the emergency message I got from my friend at that time didn't have much detail, so I didn't know how serious it was. Obviously, when I got to his place, he was very upset, but it wasn't life and death, and in hindsight, it could have waited until next morning. You think there might have been a reason it was vague? I'm not trying to make any excuses. I just thought some comments were a little harsh. I care for my boyfriend very much, and I'm happy we got this resolved. The comments about my friend's alcoholism made me realize that I needed to give him the resources to help himself, which I will do if he's open to it. I've never had someone I care about deal with an alcohol issue and was a bit naive to think that I could help him without professionals. I spoke to my friend on the phone this morning, and even though he was very defensive, he agreed to meet with me to talk about the next steps for him getting help. His dad is threatening to kick him out of the house, so I think that was a bit of a wake-up call for him. Also, I don't believe my friend had any malicious intent when he asked me for help, and I won't be cutting him off like some of you suggested. I think healthy boundaries to prevent any misunderstandings will do. That's the update for some of you who were asking for one. Relevant comments here. Number 1, I love how you still refer to it as an emergency when it was very evidently not an emergency. More like some guy just wanted her attention and OP just ditched her boyfriend for him. Number 2, I give her boyfriend a week before he dips. If she would take some accountability, maybe there'd be a chance, but no way the boyfriend continues to tolerate the disrespect. I know I've broken up for less. LOL. Original OP, how am I disrespecting my boyfriend? I apologized and took accountability that I was in the wrong. I agreed when my boyfriend asked to put boundaries between my friend and I've done everything he's asked, so where's the disrespect? Is there? Is there still disrespect whenever she's willing to create boundaries? Now, as some commenters said before, the friend is abusing OP's willingness to be a crutch. And she still wants to be there for the friend, but doesn't want to abandon the friend, wants to help the friend get some resources to help himself. I still think there's a chance this was a call for attention to divert, to try to bust things up between OP and the boyfriend. It's possible. Not saying that's what it is, but there's definitely a chance. Aaron says, I was friends with an alcoholic for many years. I ended up being emotionally used and hurt badly. You can't fix them. You can't save them. They will use you to relieve their emotional pain. So there's 2 possible routes here. Either it is an addiction and it's abusing the relationship like that. So there's that side of it. Or there's a secret love interest and he's trying to break up the relationship by choosing the timing that he chose. We have more. We have another update. My boyfriend just kind of snapped and said, you either never speak to him again or we are done. I stated that's so unfair when literally the day before we were moving on from this and I just want to just come to a compromise. He said he was really hurt that I'm not taking the relationship as seriously as he is. To skip a lot of back and forth, we couldn't agree and decided to break up. I didn't actually think we'd break up over this, so I was kind of shocked, but if he wants to throw our relationship away because of this, then fine. I obviously feel pretty down about it. Before this, we never really had any problems, and now it's over because of some shitty decisions that I apologized for. But then I would feel so guilty if I dropped my friend who's struggling when he's always been there for me, especially during a tough time in my teens. My boyfriend clearly didn't believe in me when I said I would never prioritize anyone over him again. I think what some of you guys said was right. The damage was already done and I didn't want to accept it. It's possible. I tried to speak with my boyfriend the next couple of days, but he didn't want to hear anything I had to say, which made for a very uncomfortable few days living together. I'm going to stay with a friend for 2 days as she was looking for a roommate anyway. A part of me wants to try to reconcile with my ex-boyfriend, but then a part of me knows I should just let it go, and I'm not going to be happy going no contact with my friend, and he's not happy with the friendship. Even if I wanted to go no contact with this friend, it wouldn't have worked as he's in my friendship circle, and he would be at all of our get-togethers and try to talk to me anyway. A part of me is confused about my friend now. He provoked my boyfriend when he knew we were up on rocky grounds. I hate that I'm having to question a friendship that I've had for years, but I did say I would give him the benefit of the doubt this time, and maybe I'll end up regretting what we'll see. That seed that was planted earlier is just sprouting now. However, he's now started AA meetings, which I'm proud of for him, and I'm hoping he sticks with it. He's apologetic about the role he played in our breakup and says he's going to get his shit together and be a better friend to me. Anyway, I think I'm just going to take some time for myself, process everything, and going to be single for a little bit because it's actually too much stress. Comments tear into Original OP's predictability. She replies to a lot of comments still defending the friend. Number 1, make a list, tally, or whatever every time you canceled with your ex for him. Every instance that you can remember, mark it in some way. When that's done, do the reverse. Mark how many times you canceled with a friend for your ex. Original OP, no, I appreciate you giving advice still, even though I effed up. Canceling on my ex wasn't a regular thing. A handful of times maybe. It's hard to remember, to be honest. Number 2, comment number 2, have you spoken with your brother yet? Curious about what he makes of the situation. Original OP, yeah, my brother tore into me. He thinks I was way too trusting of my friend. He said just because he was a good friend doesn't mean he still is, and I should no longer speak to him because this was intentional. He lectured me for ages, to be honest, but that was the gist of it. He understood why I wanted to defend my friend, but he said I effed up badly. So yeah, he was also disappointed in me for ruining a good relationship. He liked my ex a lot for a clingy asshole. So yeah, he didn't hold back. Now, he said I should be careful about how my friend is going to respond to this, especially if he's still a bit unstable. Yes, I showed him all the posts, and yes, I told him about the jokes. He was honestly a little speechless when I told him, but yeah, he said it was too fresh to be making those jokes. That he was trying to get my ex on purpose, and that me not choosing a side, which is choosing a side, is a relationship killer. And that's why he said the friend has got to go, because he knows what he's doing, and I'm not holding my own. Another comment, you're not very bright, are you? Don't watch a lot of drama movies. A blind bat could see this shit clearly from a mile away. Original OP says that's easy for you to say when you aren't in the situation, when it's someone you've grown up with and thought you could trust. Another comment here, lady, everyone on the internet and even your own damn brother is telling you this friend of yours is no good. His own father wants him out of the house for Pete's sake. Yet you're still over here being buddy-buddy with this guy. I think the only way you'll have a romantic relationship without dropping this guy is by having a relationship with him, which I guarantee will be your doom. He's a clingy asshole alcoholic, and he's not going to stop drinking because he definitely hasn't hit rock bottom. The opposite. He had a little win in getting rid of your ex, and now he knows you'll always pick him. Reading your replies to the comments is amazing. You keep putting blame on your ex-boyfriend. You keep stomping on someone who you already hurt so much, and you keep blaming him. Wow. I do love happy endings. Maybe your ex will be happy. Original OP, I'm not blaming my ex. I know this is mostly my fault, but at the end of the day, he ended the relationship by giving me an ultimatum days after we discussed how we were going to move past this. Yeah, but OP, then new stuff happened. Like your friend got up in his face. I didn't even get a chance to show changed behavior. Obviously, I feel guilty that I hurt someone I really care about, and I'm hurting too, but what's done is done. OP eventually has some realization. Comment, see, the thing is, everyone was telling you this repeatedly and you kept blaming your ex, and it looks like you still do. You don't own any of this at all. You owe your ex a huge apology, but you ignore it because he won't talk to me and you clearly think you were still right. Original OP's response, I don't blame my ex and I do owe him an apology, but I don't know if that might make it worse. He may just want to be left alone. Yeah, I just really wanted to believe in my friend, but obviously it's looking like I was wrong. I no longer want to speak to my friend. How do you suggest I tell him that? I've just been ignoring his calls the last 2 days. Like, should I just go speak with him about everything and bring someone with me? You've succeeded in scaring me a little bit, and I no longer know how he's going to react. But I've also got to try to keep things as pleasant and civil as possible because we have the same friend group, and I'm still going to see him often. Of course I feel sympathy for my ex. Of course I do. As I said, there's no excuse. I'm obviously so upset with my friend, and if I could have it my way, I would never see him again. But we have the same friends. We hang out in the group all the time. I'm allowed to acknowledge how awkward that is going to be. Yeah, I'm going to apologize to my ex for what I did and how I hurt him. Even if he doesn't respond, I want to give him that closure. Commenter responds, do it over text. Tell him you've thought about it and you can't forgive him for ruining your relationship. Keep it about that. If you can, try to get him to admit he did it on purpose. That way you have proof for your other friends. Also, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I scared you. But this world can be a bad place with bad people in it. Sometimes fear is a gift. It can keep you alive, but it's panic that will get you killed. Keep calm and don't panic. And for the love of God, don't let him be alone with you. Another comment here. Guess then that there's no chance of reconciliation for you and your ex. OP, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I would want to, but it feels like the damage is done and this would hang over our heads. I don't know if he would even ever talk to me at the moment. That feels cowardly to me on OP's part. This feels like OP is just like, I don't want to risk getting hurt by apologizing and him or trying to reconcile, so I'm not going to do it. It feels cowardly. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like I don't know how your friend's going to react here either, but it is going to be awkward. If you couldn't get the friend to admit that he did this intentionally and that it was because of some kind of romantic interest or whatever, for whatever the reason was, if you can get him to say that, the friend group needs to know about this. Because if you have no chance of avoiding him because he's a part of the same friend group, then those people and proxy need to know what's going on here as well, because they need to know if they're walking into an awkward situation. You owe your friend group that, right? You owe that. I think what I get vibe-wise from OP here is that she doesn't like to risk getting hurt. And there's a risk of getting hurt whenever if she put herself out there again and tried to reconcile. There's a chance that he could say no, so she's not going to take that chance. That's a hard way to live. But I think that the friend got in OP's boyfriend's face and that altercation escalated is another indicator that this is because of some kind of either control. The friend didn't want OP to have a boyfriend because that interferes with her ability to serve him as an emotional crutch, or a romantic interest. And maybe if you get him to admit it so you have some kind of proof, there's a chance he could be excommunicated by the friend group, or they would at least keep an eye on him, or they would at least try to do things with you without him. There are solution paths there. It sounds like OP is afraid to test solution paths. Fear of rejection, whatever it is. The initial question was, am I the astronaut for bailing on anniversary plans with my boyfriend last minute for a friend's emergency? We know now, yes. But OP was also duped by this friend and was used by this friend. So the friend abused the relationship, abused the connection that they have to try to get her away from the boyfriend. We still don't know if it's a control or romantic interest kind of thing. I think she's in it too. She definitely should not have done this. She should not have done this. She was being naive, but she should have seen what was going on here. And I understand you have some friends that you're ride or die for, right? Everybody has those friends where they don't have to give you an explanation. If they say, I need you, you go. One of those ride or die friends abuses that friendship and abuses that connection, then they can't be that way anymore, especially if they are directly trying to interfere with your life and blow it up.